Max, pressure from Carlos in those last 16 laps, but it seemed like you had it all under control. What a way to win your first race in Canada.
Yeah, I did. This is my first interview of the day. So. It was a tough race. I mean, I expected to have a little bit more pace, but yeah, we seemed to lack a little bit compared to Carlos. That's of course the only one I could compare to with the Ferrari, and it was a bit more difficult than I expected, but I think, we did our strategy, and I think for us it worked. Like, that was the right one to do. And I think at that second stop, of course, I had the fresher tires and I was closing in on Carlos, but I was not sure if I actually would fully close that gap to the end of the race. But then the safety car came out, and I was also not very happy with that, because then I knew, of course, he had fresh tires behind me, and already with, I think, a little bit more pace compared to me, that is difficult to defend. But the last 15, 16 laps, we were flat out, pushing to the limit, and I knew, of course, that I couldn't make a mistake. It was good racing, It's always more enjoyable to be able to really push in a Formula 1 car instead of just saving your tires.
Did Carlos have a go at any point?
I mean, not a go in terms of like having in terms of overtaking, but it was super close all the time. But I mean, he was constantly in my DRS. I think not once he dropped out of it, So the pressure is always on.
Talk us through the start. It seemed like you made a very good getaway, more than a second in the lead at the end of the opening lap.
I think, it was very low grip out there, of course, because of the rain yesterday. So I knew it was always going to be a bit of a tricky start, but I think we managed that well.
Was there a radio issue on your slowdown lap? We couldn't hear from you.
Yeah, I think it didn't work anymore. Decided to stop.
Did it work during the race? Were there any issues?
I have no clue when it stopped, but at one point GP told me that it was not working anymore in lap after the line. I guess it must have been working before, or maybe it already didn't work before, which probably they don't mind. As long as I can hear him, that's the most important.
Now, Max, you're 46 points ahead of your teammate in the championship. You're building that slowly, race on race. Just how comfortable do you feel at the moment, both with your car, your team, your position in the championship?
It's still a very long way, and I know the gap, of course, is quite big, but I also know that it can switch around very quickly. I mean, race 3, I was 46 behind, so we just need to stay calm. We need to focus. We need to improve, because today we were not the quickest, and it swings a bit. Like last weekend, it looked good in the race. Now it didn't look as good, but we still managed to win, and that, I think, is also a quality. And we just have to work together with the whole team to try and just find little improvements in the car.
Max, you just said that Red Bull lacked a little bit of race pace here compared to Ferrari, but so far this season the pattern has been different, with Ferrari being faster on Saturday, you guys on Sunday. Why do you feel that it was different today? Is it just related to the specific track layout here, or a result of the Ferrari upgrades in Barcelona? This is actually the first good comparison that we got since then.
I don't think it's always been that they have been quicker on Saturday and then slower on Sunday. I think Barcelona, they were also quick on Sunday, and there were a few more races, so it just goes back and forth a bit, and we need to understand. Of course, it also rained yesterday. Maybe that didn't help for us today with the greener track, but that's all things we have to look into. Maybe, track layout, curbs, whatever. We'll have a look into it. At the moment, it's difficult to really explain why they were a bit faster than us in the race.
Max, what was the key to keeping Carlos behind during those closing laps to the finish after the safety car? Was there specific areas of the track you were concentrating on to make sure he couldn't close in after that?
Of course, you always have to make sure that, the place where he had DRS, that you have a good exit the corner before. But it was all about just really pushing to the limit, not making a mistake in general, because I knew even in sector 1, if I would make a tiny mistake, Carlos would gain a tenth on me, and that might have been enough to then get closer in the first DRS zone and then in the second, so yeah, it was proper racing, proper pushing. And I mean, I had my moments, so I had a bit of oversteer, and then I looked in the mirror and I saw Carlos having the same amount of moments, so it was really on the edge, but that's good to see.
Max, it's been 3 years since you raced here in Montreal the last time. How have you changed and improved most as a driver since over those last 3 years?
I guess, in general experience, just racing and being in Formula 1. And then the rest is all down to whatever car you have, right? I mean, I always enjoyed coming here to Montreal, but we never really had a competitive package around here because we were always a bit slow on the straight. But luckily this year, we seemed quite competitive on the straight. So I knew that this might, was the first opportunity to really, fight for a win. And that just makes it that extra little bit more special to come here. But also what I really enjoy, coming here to Montreal is just the old school curbs. Like we have a lot of tracks where we have very standard curbs, and here they are still very iconic and unique, and we really have to keep them because that is so much better to drive for us. So I hope we can drive here for quite a few more years.
It's Father's Day, and the three of you have a lot of stories about the father being involved in motorsport. So I would like you to comment the importance of your fathers in your career.
Well, without my dad, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. So what he did for me is, difficult to explain. You know, as soon as he stopped in F1, he basically dedicated the next 12 years to make sure he would try everything, and he did everything for me to be where I am right now. I mean, the amount of hours we traveled through Europe together, and not only that, but also the workload he did back at home in Holland, working on my engines, preparing my go-karts, being on the dyno. It was really crazy. Like when I would wake up and go to school, he would bring me to school, and then he would go to the workshop and continue his work. After I finished school, I would go there and he was still working, and he would be on the dyno. I would help him. He would show me what he was doing because he wanted me to understand what was actually driving me. It's been really, especially now when I look back at it, it's crazy, and really, I'm really thankful of those times. At the time, I thought a bit lightly about it because I was like, why do I need to do all this? Why do I need to be involved? But it definitely helped me a lot also later in my career. And even now, like, of course, he doesn't tell me anymore, you have to turn in here and you have to do this and do that. But I just really like to share every single weekend, not only about racing, but in general, just, what I'm doing and stuff like that. I think it's very important to have that kind of relationship. So yeah, I hope he enjoyed today. I'm sure he was very nervous out there. He's always nervous. So at least we made it stick. So that was a good present, I think.
Carlos, so close to winning this race. Just talk us through those last laps.
Yeah, it was a tough, intense battle with Max. I knew I had a bit of pace delta on him from the whole race, and I think it was 5-6 laps fresher tire. But I think to overtake around here, you need a bit more than those 2 or 3 tenths, And I gave it all. I was risking everything, over the curbs, close to the wall, having a few moments out there in dirty air. But I can tell you I was pushing.
Now, had you put medium tires on at that last stop, what difference might that have made?
Yeah, I was thinking about it now. The safety cars stayed out for a bit longer than maybe what I thought or what the team thought. And by the time it was green flag, there was only 16 or something laps left, which was the right number of laps to maybe try and put on a soft and try to overtake Max on the warm-up phase of the hard. Now it's easy to say. At the time, with still 20-something laps to go, the hard was definitely a fastest option to the flag, especially knowing that it was a bit of a fresher hard to Max. It's a shame. I felt like also without the safety car, as Max said, he wouldn't have caught me easy. I think it would have been a good battle at the end with him catching up on me. I was ready to hang it out there until the checkered flag, and I was in good pace. I was still doing 17.3s, and I think we could have made it to the flag.
But when you were behind him, how was the pace of the cars? Was the DRS the only thing keeping you within reach?
I mean, without the DRS, it's impossible because the dirty air is still affecting you quite a lot, especially at this track that you cannot do different lines. It's all chicanes that you have nowhere to put your front wing to avoid the understeer and the overheating of the tires. But even like that, I was happy and confident to be in the dirty air and managed to stay even in overheating 16 laps in DRS. I got close, I think, in lap 3 as soon as the DRS opened, and it was all about cooling the tires and regaining the battery to try and really drain it. And when catching him, as I said, I left everything out there. But compared to a Red Bull today, we were quicker, I think, the whole race. First time this season that I think I can say that I was fastest man on track, which gives me some confidence and hope for the next races. But 2 or 3 tenths is not enough to pass a Red Bull. You need more like 5-6 tenths of pace delta if you really want to have any chance of passing Max.
Carlos, Max, you just said that Red Bull lacked a little bit of race pace here compared to Ferrari. But so far this season, the pattern has been different, with Ferrari being faster on Saturday, you guys on Sunday. Why do you feel that it was different today? Is it just related to the specific track layout here, or a result of the Ferrari upgrades in Barcelona? This is actually the first good comparison that we got since then.
Yeah, I agree with Max. There is a bit of a trend, but I think recent races it's been very difficult to compare race pace. I would say that coming from Friday, Max looked very quick on the long run. If anything, I felt like we were a tenth behind, but I think that switched today and we were a bit quicker, which is good news for us. And as I said before, it gives us good data and in a personal side, good feeling that today I was pushing out there really on the limit and with no mistakes and being able to push this car to be fast.
Carlos, you said you felt the fastest on track for the first time this season. How do you feel now in terms of confidence inside the car? And do you think you're capable of being with Max and Charles from now on?
I hope so, no. But as I said a few races ago, I want to take it a bit more race by race. Not think too much about the championship or anything like that. I really want to focus in getting to a track and see if I can get myself in a good window of performance and comfort inside the car. I think this weekend I did that. Right since FP1, I looked very very quick, both in quali and race pace, and in the race today I was pushing flat out without any fear of losing the car like I had, for example, in Barcelona. And also some good progress being made. We've changed a bit of things on the car to try and make it a bit more to my liking, and they seem to be working. But at the same time, I think I need more circuits. I need more different kind of corners to have a proper feel for that.
It's Father's Day, and the three of you have a lot of stories about the father being involved in motorsport. So I would like you to comment the importance of your fathers in your career.
Yeah, I have a very similar story to Max. My father retired from rallying in 2004, and 2006 I started competing in go-karts, and since then he's been my right hand, my mentor, my advisor, my leader, in terms of what I should do in my career. And it's great to be able to spend so much time of my childhood, with my father, and still having the same conversations that we used to have back in the day when I was 11, 12 years old. He still tells me similar things, and I'm very proud, not only to share the racing side, but also I am proud to share a lot of moments with him in family. We play a lot of golf together, paddle, squash. He's 60 and getting old, but at the same time we can play all these sports together, which is great, and we are having a lot of fun, and he still comes to races and we enjoy them together.
Lewis, your first podium since the season opener in Bahrain. After what's been a difficult run of races for you and Mercedes, how much satisfaction does this podium give?
It feels great today to be in amongst the battle, and for a second at the end there I was kind of just about keeping up with these guys, and they pulled away at the end. But it's given me and the team a lot of hope. I think that there's more to come from this car. The potential is truly there if we can get the setup right. And I think that's been the most difficult thing this year, is really trying to optimize the setup. The window for this car is much smaller than any other car we've experienced. And I've not been on the podium for a long time. So especially as I had my first win here 15 years ago, to be back up there and get to experience the energy from the crowd was very reminiscent of that first year here, and I'm so happy with it.
Lewis, you mentioned setup, and the last time you drove this car in the dry on Friday, you seemed at a loss to explain the lack of pace. So what did you change between Friday and qualifying, but today?
I wasn't really at a loss. It's just we tried two different avenues, and the avenue I was down was dreadful. So we collated all the data we had, and we made drastic change to the setup, and it was much nicer today, more in line with what we anticipated. But and it was good, when you get a full race distance in, you find a lot of things out about the car and the relationship you have with the car, and data, etc. So there's a lot to take from today. One really great thing is we've got really good reliability, which I think is a real tribute to all the great work all the team are doing at both factories. So we just got to keep our heads down, keep working, and hopefully I know where I'm losing to these guys, so that's where I'm going to go and try and focus on attacking to improve.
Lewis, we're heading back to a more conventional circuit next. Your home race, Silverstone. Just how confident are you at a track like that now?
I think we're better in the medium and high speed corners probably than we are in the low speed corners. But we have bouncing, so I don't know how it's going to be through Cops and all those places. Max doesn't know what I'm talking about, but I know Carlos knows what I'm saying, so it'll be interesting for us there. But yeah, really excited to get back to the UK. The weather's incredible right now, so I hope it's the same next week.
Lewis, you said the car was, quote, a lot nicer. What do you mean by that exactly? I mean, was the bouncing less? Was it just quicker? Did it feel more comfortable? What was it?
No, the balance I had on Monday was neutral and super positive, so no rear end. And as soon as you apply 1 degree of turning, the rear end's coming around. So I was just fighting that constantly, and it was very difficult to keep it out the wall. That's why I didn't finish my long run, because it was just undrivable in the setup window that we tried. It was just an experiment to see whether the car would work there. Didn't. So then we made the changes, and today was a much better balanced in terms of I had a nice amount of understeer today, better traction, not having those snaps. So it was night and day difference. We still have bouncing, so it's that's not going away.
Was it
hasn't
better
gone
than
away.
Baku, the bounce?
Yeah, much better than Baku.
Lewis, please. You've mentioned how your side of the garage has maybe taken on more experimental setups. Is there any light at the end of the tunnel for you in terms of needing to maybe be the team's guinea pig a little bit, and where you can focus on driving and racing and being competitive?
Maybe the second half of the season, George can do the experiments. No, well, I mean, we're just trying to work. We're just trying to progress as a team, and I think moving forwards, I think we'll be a little bit more cautious on doing too many experiments, as it really does hinder you through the weekend, especially if you only have practice 1 and 2 in the dry and you don't get a P3, for example. So, I think there's lots of learnings from this weekend and improvements that we can make moving forwards. But really a great pace today, and it's so nice to see. It's not always been the case I've had with this car, so it's nice to have like a bit of a good battle with her today, her or him, whatever you call the car. I really hope moving to Silverstone it's such an important race for us and for me, and so I really hope that. I just want to be in a battle with these guys. At the end there, when the safety car came in and we started again, I was like hoping that I could just. The dream was like if I can keep in that battle with them and find a way. But they were rapid, so. But we will get there eventually.
For Lewis, you mentioned you still have bouncing. What about your back today?
Well, the bouncing was nowhere near as bad as the last race. The last race there was no words for how hard it was. But this weekend we managed to. We did have bouncing, but it was nowhere near on the. If the last race was 10 Gs, this one maybe was 2 or 3 or something like that. So it's livable. But we still, I think, as a sport, need to do better, and I think us as a team also need to do better.
It's Father's Day, and the three of you have a lot of stories about the father being involved in motorsport, so I would like you to comment the importance of your fathers in your career.
Similar to these guys, quite contrasting difference. My dad would have given everything to being a racing driver when he was in his younger days, but coming from the humble beginnings and just with the dream of creating a better opportunity for his kids than he had, and I'm forever grateful for my dad. The journey that we have been on, the struggles that we had, and to be in here in our first Grand Prix win in 2007, looking down at him, knowing everything he did to raise money and to literally almost selling the shirt off his back to keep us racing. I hope that he's proud today, and I continue to try to do him and my whole family proud with every moment that I step in that car. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, because it's such an important role. And I've got friends that didn't have their father with them, and the mothers have done such an amazing job. But it's great to also be able to celebrate the dads today.